everyone. Welcome to another vlog slash podcast. I'm John with A&J Outdoors, and we got some stuff to talk about today. I hope you all are having a great day so far, wherever you are, whenever you're listening or watching this. Ignore all the extra sounds and beeps and stuff we're going to hear. This is a working office. All right, so I got some things for you lined up today. I've got a fishing story for you. I want to talk about a couple lakes, local lakes, and do some comparison of the two for those local fishermen in San Antonio area. Got some news, right? I'm going to update on the speckled trout situation down at the coast. And I got a pretty neat news story out of Michigan, right? Michigan DNR. I'm going to hit up Gadget Corner, talk about something neat, right? All right, so let's get into it. So fishing story, okay? So I got to take you back in time. This was probably 13 or so years ago, right? I've got my very first boat, which was aptly named Miss Adventure because, it's a Miss like Mrs. Adventure, but no, it's more so Miss Adventure because every time we went out and used that boat for something, we had a misadventure. So back in time, this is a 1979 Decade deck boat, right? I went to the guy's house who had it for sale. He was in the middle of selling a kayak to somebody. I walked around it, had nobody there who had any boat knowledge, greater than mine to help me or anything. And I said, yep, I'll take it. And I think I paid $800 and hooked it to my truck and drove away. Needless to say, it needed a little bit of work. It was a very old boat. So this is like 2009-ish time frame, maybe 2008. And again, it was a 1979. So the Decade deck boat has a real small center console, and then on each side there's bench seats, right? Then on the front we had a fishing chair installed, so it has a little front deck, right, with a fishing seat on it, and it's a inboard outboard. So it had a Mercruiser in there, like a I don't even remember what size it was. It wasn't very big, right? But that gave us a big hump right inside at the back end of the boat, right? Where we put rod mounts on it and all that, but underneath that hump is where the motor was. All right, so that's the boat. It was a good little boat, right? For what we used it for, is a good little boat. So me and Joel Willis, who you know, and another co-worker, Marcus Bell, who wasn't a big fisherman growing up, right? He didn't get the opportunity to go out and fish a lot, but he liked fishing and he liked to eat fish, so he wanted to go. So we go down to Choke Canyon. If you're familiar with that lake, it's about an hour and a half or so south of San Antonio here. Choke Canyon is a good name for it because one end of that lake, right, where the river flows in, that half of the lake, they really didn't clear out the trees or anything. So it's really a lot of trees and stumps. Then the other end of the lake towards the dam is where they did some clearing, so it's much easier running. So on this little Decade, it came with a fish finder. And I mean, it was a little black and white Eagle, right, fish finder. So it didn't have any mapping or anything like that, okay? So we put in a Callahan unit, and we want to head towards the bridge because we're looking for crappie, hopefully. We want to head towards the bridge where the river comes in, right? 99 bridge, for those of you who know, from Callahan, right, with a graph with no mapping capability. So those of you that know the lake can already see what's 99 bridge. So we're going to go down that way. So we start putting across there. Of course, there's trees and stumps everywhere. And this is when the lake was a little fuller than it is now. And so I've got one of them on the front of the boat, and we're just putting along. And yes, we bumped into some stuff underwater that we didn't know was there. Anyways, and we see other boats through the trees just flying. And we're like, how are these guys running so fast with all these trees? What we didn't know is they had mapping, and they were on the river channel, which was a much clearer than what we were going through, and they were just running at the river channel. Lesson learned, right? So finally we get up to 99 Bridge, did some fishing. I don't think we ever even caught any fish there. Near there, I caught a big Gaspergoo or freshwater drum. And then on some advice from a friend of mine, Cliff Hill, we headed all the way down to the dam. So now we're running the length of the lake from all that real bad tree brush stuff down to the dam area in very deep water, and we're dropping punch bait to the bottom to catch catfish, right? And when we first got there, of course, Joel and me are looking around like, we're in the middle of the freaking lake in deep water. How are we going to catch fish here? But Cliff said, do it. Let's do it. Drop down. Within a couple minutes, we start catching fish. It's a real calm day. We've got one anchor out and the boat drifts around a little bit, but it doesn't matter because they're fishing straight down. And we start catching keeper catfish. So we're catching these fish. I think I'm up at the front of the boat. Joe's kind of in the middle, and Marcus Bell is at the back end of the boat. And then Bell says, hey, is there supposed to be water here? So we look back at where he's at, and he's by the motor hump, right? And the deck back there, and it's all old carpet over plywood, right? There's standing water. And we're like, huh. So I went back there, and I raised the engine cover, and it's filled almost half full with water down in there, right? And so we have this milk jug with the top cut off of it, right? And we proceed to start belling water out. And we bell for a while, we get it down pretty low, and we go back to fishing. We fish, catch some more fish, and then we bell for a while, get it back down, fish, catch some. So we're taking on water, right? And Bell doesn't realize, and he can't swim, so he doesn't realize, how bad this could be, how it could end. But we want to fish, so we just bell water, fish for a while, bell water, fish for a while. Finally got the amount of fish we wanted. I think it's about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. It's time to head back to Callahan. So I get on her, we get going, and that boat, the front end stayed like this because the weight of the water in the back. So I had both of them get up on the front of the boat so we could level it out a little bit, try to get on plane. We get around to the Callahan ramp. You come around, there's like a little break wall right there. You got to come around. As we're coming up towards the ramp, right, I hit it into neutral, water slushes forward, floods the motor, and boom, the boat's dead. But luckily we were right there at the ramp. We just kind of drifted into the dock, and there were other issues after that, right? But that was when we almost sunk the boat on Choke Canyon. A little more to this story. When we first got at the ramp in the morning, we realized I had a tire going low on the trailer. Okay, I have a spare. So do we change it now? No, we want to fish. So we're going to jump in the boat and go fish. When we come back, we'll change the tire. So we get back, and I said, okay, you two, the tire's almost completely flat now. We put the boat on the trailer, get it up in the parking lot. Joel and Marcus take the fish over to the cleaning station and start cleaning the fish. And I jack up the trailer, pull the old tire off, put the new tire on, and realize that tire's low too. So we get everything done. We get in the truck, we drive into town, find a gas station where we can air that spare tire up. We air it up, get on the highway heading north to San Antonio. We're all pleased with ourselves. We survived, we got fish, and we probably got about 5 or 6 miles up I-37 out of the Choke Canyon area, Three Rivers, and look back, and there's chunks of tire flying. That spare tire had disintegrated. So I pull over on the side of the road, and it's got a good shoulder. I'm off the road safely enough, right? And so the determination's made. I'm going to take the tire that went flat on us, the first tire, back to town and see if there's a way we could just fill it with air, because it made it all the way there before it went flat, so we didn't make it all the way back. And then they're going to stay there and get that. So this is just a tire that's not mounted anymore, right? So it's easy. They're going to stay there and get that blowed up tire off the trailer for me, right? I leave them the jack and tools and all that. I jump in the truck with the tire. I turn around, go back to Three Rivers. I find the gas station again. I pump the air in it, get the tire nice and blown up, drive back. As I'm coming back up the highway from behind them, right, I see the boat trailers jacked up. I see them standing there, and I notice they got orange on them. I'm like an orange safety vest, right? They had decided that it was dangerous being on the side of the road, and they wanted the drivers to be able to see them. So they actually took life vests and were wearing the life vest. Those cheap orange ones, right? While they're changing or getting this tire off the trailer. So it was quite comical. We did eventually get the other tire on and made it all the way home. So that was one of the first trips where we started to name that boat Misadventure. If I can find an old picture of her, I'll post it somewhere like right now on the vlog. All right, so if you got any great stories like that you want to share, comment down below. Let me know about them. You can email them to me, whatever. If you got pictures you want to share on my vlog, just email them to me. My email's available on the on here. You can find me on all my social media, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Just, hey, a message, hey, here's a picture I'd like you to put on your vlog, whatever. Send it and I'll do it. Okay, we'll talk about it. All right, so our next discussion. So if you're familiar with San Antonio area, and your fish, about Calaveras Lake and Bronick Lake. These are two, sometimes we call them the twin lakes. They're two power plant lakes, so they're a lot different. Okay. They're where people around here go and catch freshwater red drum, because they stock red drum in those lakes. They can live there. They survive well in that lake. They just don't multiply. They can't have babies, right? So they can't breed. Okay. So whatever they put in is what's there. Plus there's catfish. They also stock channel cats. There are blue cats. Try to remind people, don't keep the big ones though, because they don't stock those. What's there is there. And if you take all the breeders, that's a whole nother argument. Anyways, back again, 12, 13 years ago, I wanted to learn Calaveras, right? And my daughter wanted to go fishing. So I said, hey, I'm going to hire a local guide to take us fishing. And at the same time, I'll get to learn a little bit about this lake, right? Luckily, we found Cliff Hill, who's now a friend of mine, who was guiding at the time. And we booked a trip with him. We went out with him, and he's the type of guy that not only puts you on fish, we got our 50 fish limit that day, that he cleaned all of them, right? This is catfish, okay? But he also took me around the lake, showing locations, showing his rigs, how he fishes different ways, all that, So he's one of those guys that isn't, oh, these are my secret spots, and I'm not going to let you know about how I fish, right? So he really educated us. What it did was it took years off that learning curve. When you talk about time on water, when we all have busy lives now, we have jobs and don't get out and fish a lot. That guide really helps shorten that time on water aspect, right? So I had learned Calaveras, right? And I started fishing it like that in Misadventure, that boat, the first one we got. And then Bronick, we decided to try Bronick, and we had heard at the time on Calaveras, if you were targeting channel cats, you fish around the reeds, you could catch tons of catfish, right? Channel cats. And there's 10 inches up to, 16, 18, something over that was huge, right? So you had throwbacks, but you could always catch a lot of fish. And Browning, right, we go fish it, and we have had good days there. We got over 40, I think we got like 48 one day. But typically a lot fewer fish, but they were much bigger. We're talking, 20 to 28 inches long, right? I had the lake record on that lake for a while, which was 28 inches long. So we're talking 5 to 8, maybe 9-pound catfish versus these little 10 and 12 inches. But you would only catch a few a day if you go fishing there. So that's kind of how it was back then. And then we started a fishing tournament. We started drifting Calaveras, looking for blues, right? That was the best way to catch them for us. And so the slip corking kind of went away, stopped doing that. And at the time, it seemed like it wasn't doing as well. We would go hit these reed beds, and we just wouldn't find as many fish as we did before. Got fished out. Our fault, maybe, I don't know, but there just weren't as many catfish available at the time, or biting. So we were drift fishing. And then I kind of stopped fishing those lakes. I got interested in going to Canyon Lake, Choke Canyon, and travel into other places, the coast, right? So fast forward to last week, right? I got a Friday off. I'll put a link to the video. I got a video right down below. I'll put a link it's on my other channel, right? The Outdoors channel. And I went and I was like, I'm going to go old school. I'm going to slip cork Calaveras like we used to back in the day. I'll probably catch a bunch of little catfish. It'll be awesome. No, I caught 3 fish, and I fished like 3.5 hours, right? Usually you'd have 20 or more in that time, back the way it used to be. But these 3 fish were Bronick channel cats, right? They were all well over 5 pounds. And a couple of them were 24 to 25 inches long, right? So it was only 3, but they were big. So it's kind of like the lakes have changed to where now, I don't know what Bronick's like anymore. It's been a long time since I fished Bronick, but it's like Calaveras now is more like what Bronick was 10, 12 years ago, right? They did just stock both lakes with channel cats, sub adults is what they called it. I never saw, what the actual size of these fish were. I think it was a few thousand in each lake. So that's going to boost that population back up. But it's only channel cats. Again, they don't stock the blue cats there. But that's kind of what's going on. That's my perspective, what I've seen fishing our two local lakes. So it's kind of strange, right? Population went down, but the fish are bigger, and that's how Bronick used to be. So very unique. All right, time to talk about the news, right? So the last episode, if you watched or listened, I talked about the speckled trout down on the coast, and how Texas Parks and Wildlife was trying to institute a new size limit and quantity, right? Where you could keep 3 and they had to be 17 to 23 inches, right? The old one was 15 to 25 inches, and you could keep 5. Because of the freeze last year, it impacted the trout significantly. And so the lower area below the JFK Causeway and south, they had instituted that as an emergency measure already. That expired back in September because it was only good through the end of August when they do these things. Okay, so right now, if you went to the coast, check your apps or check the regs, right? But right now it's back to 15 to 25 with a 5 fish limit. But that's what they're trying to change it back to that other one, and not only for south of the JFK Causeway, but north of through Matagorda. Okay, so a much bigger area. They had talks, right? And so fast forward, I told you I contacted them because I'm looking at the app and I'm looking on their website, and there's nothing saying that's the new requirements, right? That's the new limits. So I emailed them, and I got an email back, and the individual explained that now that changes laws, right? So there's legalities they have to go through, documentation wise, before they can make the change. And so they expected it to be mid-March, right, before this change came through, and it hadn't come through as of yesterday because I checked. So, but they also told me the Texas Parks and Wildlife Department website and the app, right, for your phone are the most up-to-date requirements. So that being said, if you look on there and it says 15 to 25, it's still 15 to 25. If you look on there and all of a sudden it says 17 to 23, that's when the new rule took effect, right? Once you look at that. So that's an update on the speckled trout. Personally, I don't have heartburn about it. I have no problem with it. It's going to expire just like the last emergency one. It'll expire September 1st, right? So then I guess they'll have to readdress it and see if there's something else they want to do about that. Okay. So that's the deal. Let me wet my whistle here. All right. I got a second news article that I found very interesting. This came from the Michigan DNR, right? Texas Parks and Wildlife, Michigan DNR, you can sign up for like a news bulletin that they'll email you, right? So I've signed up for both of those because we have a little house in Michigan and we like to go up there for the summer and fish too. So Michigan has some very unique rules compared to here in Texas. Like you can't just go throw a cast net and get bait fish to use. And if you're catfish is frowned upon more in Michigan than it is down here, right? There are people who fish for catfish and eat catfish, but a lot of them are like, ew, it's a trash fish until you cook it up for them and they try it and they realize, oh, it's pretty dang good. Anyway, so you can't throw a cast net. That's one of the weird things. I'm like, I can't. They want to get rid of these gobies that are invasive. Well, let me throw a cast net and get some, use them for bait, right? But you can't throw a cast net, at least where I've looked. And then there was no spearfishing in the Great Lakes. Okay. That's the new thing. They've just changed it. So I'll read this. Lake Michigan and Lake Huron, underwater spearfishing regulations. Okay. So underwater spearfishing opportunities for walleye, northern pike, and lake trout have been added for Lake Michigan, water south of the southernmost pier in Grand Haven, and Lake Huron, which Saginaw Bay is on Lake Huron, water south of the southernmost pier of the Thunder Bay River, extending south to the mouth of the St. Clair River. So that's a big area. Okay, this opportunity requires a new underwater spearfishing license. Okay, along with monthly effort and harvest reporting requirements. I went to the website because it refers you to the website for information on it, and I couldn't find any. So I don't know if it's my inability to navigate their website well, or if it's their website just isn't put together very well with that information in one spot for you to look at it. They give you a link to follow, and it takes you to license. So you can look at all the different licenses, and that license isn't even listed there, at least when I follow the link. But anywho, says the underwater spearfishing license is complimentary. So what that means to me is you got a fishing license, you can get that underwater spearfishing license at no cost, right? And you do have to have the DNR sports card, which is a card that costs like $1. And once you buy it, you don't have to buy it again. That's my understanding. Again, I always pay for an out-of-state license, right? Because I'm still a resident in Texas. But I thought it's pretty neat because if you've ever been up there, those Great Lakes, at least from my experience, very clear water, right? So I think it'd be a great opportunity for people who enjoy spearfishing. Mr. Stanley Orchard, I'm talking to you, that you could get in those lakes and actually go do some spearfishing. So pretty neat story. Pretty awesome story. All right. So again, folks, if you are enjoy this in the vlog format on YouTube and you would like to send me some pictures to put up there, I'll be more than willing to share pictures. If you have topic ideas, you want to ask questions, whatever, that's what the comment section down below is for. You know, it'll drive this for me if you guys start giving me some feedback of what you like and what you don't like. All right, so now it's time for our favorite thing, and that's Gadget Corner, right? All right, so Gadget Corner today is a sinker slider. Right? See that little guy right there? Okay. So your main line goes through this little eye right there, right? And then it has the clip on it. And the purpose of this is you can change out weights real easily. Okay. So I was introduced to it when we were catfishing. We started a catfish tournament down here where we fished multiple lakes in the area, competition, right? And in those tournaments, you could have up to 10 rods in your boat, right? And fishing with, if you anchor up, 10 rods out in different directions. Drifting, usually we would do 6 to 8 rods off one side of the boat when we're drifting with the wind. But that's a lot of rods, right? And there comes a time when you want to, okay, we're drift fishing right now. So we're drift fishing. I got a swivel type weight on there, one that'll not get snagged as easily because it's dragging across the bottom, right? And then we decide, you know what, this spot's got a lot of fish on it. Let's go ahead and anchor up, right? So we had 8 rods out. We're going to anchor up. We're not going to use those sinkers because that'll allow current or boat movement to move your bait and everything around. So we're going to swap to those no-roll type sinkers, right? Well, instead of having to cut your line on 8 or 10 rods, right, and retie in new weights and retie everything, we use this sinker slide, okay? Again, I'll show it to you. All right. And all you do, you've got this on your line, right, where you would maybe put one of those barrel slides that slide around round ones, right? And you unclip whatever weight you had on there and clip on the new. So you can change weights really easily, and it was a benefit. Well, even done catfishing tournament and not fishing that many rods at a time, it just became much easier just to use something like this. And there are ones, the ones I linked down below, if you want to check them out, are approved for braid. And I did notice early on, because back then there weren't a lot of manufacturers selling these. Now there's a bunch of them out there. But the white ones that I had back then, after a while, because I used braid, right, you would see it start cutting a slash in the inside of the little slider, right, from that braid. And eventually the thing breaks off, right? So now they make ones that are braid friendly, and they seem to hold up a lot better. So you want to look for those if you buy some, okay? So like I said, we put these on. So if you look at any of my fishing videos, I'm using these. Even at the coast, right? I go down to the coast. I want to put a no roll on, and there's a current or something that's moving my bait around. I put on those spider weights. I just unclip it, clip it on this one, sling it out there, and it's just a super easy way, right, to rig your rod to where you can change your weights out, okay? So that being said, that is Gadget Corner for today. I don't have anything else to review. I'm not looking at any websites today. I will have links down below to my other channel where my fishing videos are. And I told you about fishing Calaveras and catching those big channel casts. That video's over there, so you guys can check that out. I have a link down below to my page, which is a part of the Outdoors Crew website, right? So you can check out, you can find my social media contacts there. You can see what my latest videos were. The vlog is posted on that page. The podcast is posted on that page. My email address is on that page, so you can email me if you want to send me stuff. right? If you want to be a guest on my vlog / podcast, right? Send me a message one of those ways, right? And let me know that you'd like to sit in and just talk about fishing with me or hunting or outdoor cooking, whatever. Okay. And we're going to do some more cooking stuff, just not this one. All right, folks, that is the end of this vlog. I appreciate you sticking around and watching, right? Do me a favor, hit that subscription down below if you haven't. Hit the little notification bell. It lets you know when I upload a new video, right? And share this out for me and give it a thumbs up, right? If you share it with folks, like-minded folks that like to listen to or watch these type of videos, that would help me out a ton. I would greatly appreciate it. All right, till next time, folks. Peace out.